Hello, everyone. Hi,
Hi,
Naomi. It's so good to see you.
so great to
Thank
be
you so much for
here.
being willing to come and talk with us. I'm so excited to have you today.
You know, it's my favorite thing to do to talk about this all day, all night, 24/7, 365.
Me too. I mean, that's why doing this, right? Because we love
That's
it
why
so
we're
much.
doing it. 100%.
Yep. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. I am so excited that we are going to be talking with plant-based coach Naomi Green. She is a friend of mine. We actually did a retreat together in her home actually last year in Belize, and it was fantastic. It was wonderful to get to know her and be able to see what she does on her retreats in Belize. And then now I'm so excited that we're going to be working together on some programs with her. So we're going to learn a little bit about her today, a little bit about her background, her own health story, and then also just learning more about what she offers and how she helps mostly women who need help with their improvement of their lifestyle, getting off medications as able. All right, for the people who are watching today, I would love to know, where are you watching from? So send us a message, let us know, where are you watching from? And then the
All
other thing
right, we
is,
have,
if you are watching, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we have Gail on who said hi. We have Ramona on who said so exciting. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yes, love it.
Brigantine, New
Um,
Jersey.
and
We got Gail.
yeah, we've got a lot of people watching actually, so this is very exciting. Thank you, everybody. I
Yeah,
see that New Jersey,
I want you guys to like be in the
Wisconsin.
comments. Let us know what you're thinking and like ask us questions and stuff. I want this to be a conversation, not just me, blah blah blah, right? With Nikki, blah blah blah. I want you guys to like let us know what you're thinking. That's how we can really make an impact here. Oh, we got lots of people. Look at this.
We do. Look at that,
Olga, nice to
Arkansas.
meet you.
We've got our lovely Susan, who is our patient care coordinator at Lifestyle Telemedicine, who's
She's
watching.
so
Yay.
good. She takes care of all of
We
my
have one of our
clients. She's so
doctors. I know, she's
yeah.
incredible, isn't she?
She really
We've
is.
got
Thank you,
Dr. Jeff
Susan.
Pierce.
Hi, Jeff. We did a live stream a week
Awesome. I'm
ago. It
so
was fun.
excited for everybody who's watching. Yay. And it looks like we are live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. So wherever you're watching from, you can type into your comment section and ask us questions as we're going along here. All right.
Yeah. This is so cool.
I know, isn't it? All right. So, Naomi, why don't we start
Yes.
out with getting to know you a little bit better? I would love it if you would just tell the people watching a little bit more about what got you into doing this in the first place, because I know your story, but I think it's really helpful for others to see wherever they're starting at, wherever, whatever maybe health scares that they've had, or just saw their doctor, got put on yet one more medication. They feel like things are hopeless. They don't know what to do. They feel out of control. That you've actually been through this yourself. You've been through some, scary health stuff yourself and come through the other
Yeah.
side. So you are able to see that this is possible. So tell us about you.
So this is so powerful to know. How we start out, how we're feeling right now doesn't have to be this way forever. And so I'm going to tell you how I started out is that I thought I was living a healthy lifestyle. I jogged with my dogs. I worked out with my teenage kids. I biked. I shopped at Whole Foods. I knew about kale and acai berries. I thought I was living a healthy life. I ate organic chickens. I ate turkey bacon up the wazoo. Like, I didn't know anything different. And so in 2014, I felt a lump in my breast. And so I didn't think anything of it, like cancer, like what? So I didn't think anything of it. And I thought maybe it was like a fibroid. So, I called the OBGYN. I go in, we do the mammogram, and they say, oh, well, we see a thing here. I think you should, have the ultrasound and the MRI. I did all those things. And they came back and they said, okay, we need to do a biopsy. And then after that, she called me up and she goes, you have stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma. And I was like, what? And she goes, you have stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma, grade 3. And I go, what are you saying? Because honestly, I didn't even know those words. She was doing this at me and I didn't even know what the words meant. She was like, you have breast cancer. You need to come into the office. And I was like, no, that can't be me. You've got the wrong lab result. And she was like, no, you have to come in. So I went in and then they're like, you have to go see an oncologist. And they're like telling me I have breast cancer. And I still couldn't believe it. In fact, just telling you this makes me like have goosebumps. It's so scary. So, so then I did I'm going to skip to the end. I did all the things they told me to do. I had 10 months of chemotherapy, just like the worst kind. 10 months of chemotherapy, 35 radiation treatments. I had a double mastectomy. They said it was invasive. It was up into my lymph nodes. And so I did all of those things. And then at the end of it, I go in there and she says, okay, you need to make your appointment for the next 3 months and we'll tell you, if the cancer comes back. And I was like, what are you talking about? The cancer comes back. What did I just do all that stuff for? And she was like, well, you're very young, so you have more time for the cancer to come back. And it was stage 3. It was in your lymph nodes. It's invasive. And she shook a bottle of pills at me. She was like, I want you to take these pills. And they started making it for the next 10 years. You have to take those aromatase inhibitors. Any of you who have ever had breast cancer or know somebody who has breast cancer, you know about those pills. Well, those pills hurt physically. They're so painful. It takes away your estrogen, which is the thing driving the tumors. So rightfully so, they want to take it away. She shook these pills at me. She was like, you got to take these pills. So again, I was pretty mad, but I was like, okay, like, let me take these pills. So I go home and I start Google searching, like, okay, what can I do about this? And I read about the pills. So I try to take the pills. It hurts so bad. I go back to her and I'm like, listen, I don't want to take these pills. They hurt. They hurt so much. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And I knew about kale and acai berries, right? I shopped at Whole Foods. I knew about like organic food and environmental toxins. Like I thought I knew something. And I was like, listen, I know foods can cause cancer. Tell me what not to eat, right? That causes cancer and I won't eat it. Or tell me what to eat that kills cancer and I'll eat it. I'll do anything. And she looked me straight in the face like this, straight deadpan. And she said, it doesn't matter what you eat. And I was like, no, it does matter. And she said it again. It doesn't matter what you eat. I want you to take these pills. Well, let me tell you, I was pissed. I was so mad. I just like threw my head back and like ran out of there. And I started Google searching again. I was like, food and cancer, Google searching breast cancer, nutrition. And that's when I came across the documentary Forks Over Knives. If you have seen that documentary, type it into the comments, Forks Over Knives, because I'm watching that documentary. I'm so upset about the state of my life because let me tell you, I was bald. I was still bald. I was scarred up on both sides. I was terrified. And I was 10 more pounds overweight than being 30 pounds overweight that I was my entire adult life, which I know you know about, Nikki. And yeah, and I just didn't know how I was going to like live the rest of my life. How was I ever going to like lose this weight? What was I going to do? And so there goes Dr. T. Colin Campbell in that documentary. And he's saying, simply describing his 50 years of research on animal proteins. And he says, We found that animal proteins turns cancer cells on, and not eating animal proteins turns cancer cells off. And I thought, oh my God, that just flipped the switch for me. That was the thing that made me think to myself, oh, this is something I haven't heard before. This is something that makes sense, because I listened to all of the research. They lay out all the research before he actually says the final thing. And I was like, oh, this is something I could do. It was my line in the sand, like, moment. And so uh, this is what changed my life forever. And I decided, when my oncologist said to me, it doesn't matter what you eat, that's when I stopped listening and I started learning. Like,
Yeah.
I just followed my intuition, and I still was listening. I did all the things that traditional medicine told me to do, but now I had an expanded mindset of, like, what else could I do? And that's the mindset that I
Yeah.
like to teach my clients. Like, it doesn't matter what they tell you to do, you can do it. And then while you're doing that, think, what else can I take control of? Where do I have some power? So
Yeah.
I started
And
doing
and
that.
Naomi, I think it's so important that you're bringing that up. And I know you and I have probably talked about this before, but that feeling of having some control and how important that is, because I do think that a lot of people, and I've had this, I've had the same conversation with patients where they do feel like their medical care is very much put on them, and they're being told, here's what you do, here's what you do, here's what you do, but you don't have any control over this, right? It doesn't matter. You just do what we say, you listen to what we're prescribing to you or the treatment that we want you to do. But as far as
Yeah.
your lifestyle goes, it really doesn't matter. And we know that's so far from the truth. And we're not just saying this, right? We have a lot of evidence to back this up, that lifestyle changes do improve survival outcomes, it improves recurrence rates for cancer. And of course, it helps reverse a lot of chronic diseases, right? So this is all evidence that's out there. So for someone to say to you, there's nothing that you can do besides just listen to what we're telling you to follow is not true. And having that control and that power to make a difference and be part of that plan for improving your health and improving your outcome over time is, I think that's really, really powerful.
It's 100% doable for anybody. And this is reminding me, and it's true, I'm living proof. I'm living proof. I easily lost the 42 pounds after, as soon as I figured that out over the next year, without knowing that this is a weight loss, a way to lose weight. I just easily lost the 42 pounds. But what happened, to your point about taking your power back, is that because I was taking power and I was seeing myself get stronger and I was seeing myself lose weight and feeling better, the fear of the cancer began to dissipate. That was the true gift. Now,
Yeah.
I want to address something you just said, because this came up in a thing I was doing last night with a group. Here's a question I want to ask you. Here's what I want to ask you. One of the ladies said, actually, two ladies said this same thing in a different way. They said, okay, you're saying this, there's medical evidence for this, but I'm out online and I see you saying this, and I scroll to the very next post on Instagram of anybody, or my next email, or whatever it is, and they're saying something, they're saying eat more protein, and they're saying it's your hormones, and they're saying, oh, you got to take olive oil shots every day, and they're saying this, and they're saying that, and they all have some kind of medical evidence, and they all have people saying that they have improved themselves this way. So how can we burn through this layer of confusion? These two women were both saying the same thing. She was saying, yeah, you could say all this stuff, but so does they over there and them over there. And I know what I said to her, but I would like to hear, like, how do you say? And then the other woman was saying, she was like, yeah, I want to believe this, and then my family over here and these people over here are all doing something and saying something different, like the traditional food that everyone's eating. So like, why would this different thing be the way? Like, so then she'll say, well, I should have a little bit of that just in case. Like, so what do you think about that? What do you say to somebody who comes with like that level of confusion?
Yeah,
It's
I have a
so
lot to say about that.
okay, go. Please do.
So I guess the first thing is, I think a lot of people these days get their information off of social media, and anyone can post a video purporting anything on social media, right? So it's a lot easier to get misinformation now. It's a lot easier to find things that just don't have evidence behind them, even though they're saying that there is. So, boy, is it difficult to get through all of those weeds to figure out what really is the truth, what really is going to be the thing that really helps me here. So, I totally get
Yeah.
it. So, I think the first thing is making sure that you're listening to someone reputable, someone who actually does have training and understands how to read medical literature, because we learn a
Reputable
lot about that
source.
in medical school. Yes. And not all, and even if you say, oh, there's evidence, look at this paper, look at this study, you need to know who funded the study. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into reading a study. So you need to know how to read that study. So making sure you're listening to someone who actually has the credentials to be able to read that and understand it and be able to
Yeah.
distill that information out. And then the other thing is eating more plant foods. I would say that most people, unless you're talking to someone who says carnivore is the way to go and plants are bad, which, come on, pretty ridiculous. I would say most people would say, yeah, eating more veggies and fruit is a good thing, right?
There's a lot
Um,
of people out there. I saw Dr. Nagra do a video just recently where the guy was saying, "Oh, oatmeal is terrible." You know, and I've
I
seen it
know,
over and over and
I
yeah,
know. Yeah, so it's unfortunate that a lot of these foods are now all of a sudden these horrible foods when if you just think about it logically, I mean, get more veggies and fruits makes sense. Um,
yeah,
so I guess my thought is that why not try a plant-based diet, which by the way has really the best evidence for improving longevity, overall health, reversing chronic disease. Why not just try it and see how you feel? Because I've had a few patients now come to me who have tried other things. So they've tried the carnivore diet, they've tried keto, and they feel horrible.
most
Their numbers get
everybody has.
worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so then they come to me and they say, yeah, I did lose some weight, but I feel terrible. This is not sustainable. And my cholesterol shot through the roof. I'm ready to try plant based. And guess what happens? They feel amazing. They lose the extra weight. Their numbers all come down. They are reversing their diseases. So even if you don't want to listen to all of the evidence that's out there, and maybe you don't want to listen to the reputable sources that are out there, even just giving it a try for a couple of weeks, because most people really do immediately feel some form of better, and they
Of
do see
better.
improvements.
Yeah. Um, so what I said to her is that it's like also it's an intuition thing. There's so much out there, and your doctor is even saying this other thing. So at some point, you have to have like a feeling that this makes sense to you, that it lines up in your mind. Like obviously, more fruits and vegetables is going to be good, right? Um, and like the same way that like I watched all that medical evidence. That's why I always suggest those documentaries, all five of them, like as a first step, like every single one. Watch these scientists, physicians, public health policy experts, nutritionists, watch them explain it to you in 50 different ways and watch them lay it out for you.
And
Because
Naomi, do you want to say those five documentaries just in case people are wondering?
yeah, Forks Over Knives, Plant Pure Nation, What the Health, Game Changers, and Eating You Alive. Don't skip Eating You Alive. It's the best one. But Forks Over Knives is the one that changed my whole trajectory. What was I saying? It's where you can get like your first real understanding. Like, you don't have to be able to read the literature. You have to be able to trust the people who are telling it to you, right? Like you said. So so then you have to feel it. You have to be like, oh, this makes so much sense to me, and I want to do this. And that's when you get that intuitive hit. My doctor just really doesn't seem to have my best interest at heart. Remember, I told you about my client who she told her endocrinologist what she wanted to do, and the endocrinologist laughed at her and said, okay, good luck. Like that. That's horrible. And the other one I told you about, she went to the doctor and the doctor said, wow, your blood pressure is not coming down. I'm going to add another blood pressure medication. And she was like, I really don't want to do that. In fact, I want to get off these medications. I want to figure out a way to come down off of these things. And he was like, oh, no, you're going to need these for life. And then she got that intuitive hit. She'd been watching me for like a year. She was watching the women in my group, like just the ones who just graduated, who came down off of a blood pressure medication, whose blood pressure was normal. She was watching the specific results of specific things that I kept on talking about. And she got that intuitive hit. And what she said to me was, I want to prove it to myself. I want to prove to myself that I can have the power. And now she's just like gleeful, like, oh, I did it. I did it. And she's still on one of the medications, but she doesn't need two. And her blood pressure readings have been normal. And it's only been 12 weeks, and she lost 12 pounds. And she's feeling amazing because she says she knows what to do, and that if she keeps doing it, she's just going to keep feeling better and better and better. So it starts with that feeling in your heart that you want to do something else, and that this thing sounds plausible to you, given all of this medical evidence. Because what you said was that this has the most amount of medical evidence for reversing these chronic diseases. And this, okay, if that's true, why doesn't my doctor say it? Why?
Yeah.
Why doesn't
exactly, because we don't learn about it. We don't learn about it in medical school. We don't learn about lifestyle medicine. We don't learn about nutrition in medical school. And there are doctors out there, including myself, who are trying to change that, trying to get this into the training for doctors. But I will say doctors are busy and they don't see this. And a lot of the lifestyle medicine doctors out there, guess how they found out about lifestyle medicine? Through their patients. Right? So their patient came to them and said, hey, look what I did. I just lost all this weight. My A1C is normal. And then the doctor will often say, well, tell me about what you did. And so then they get excited about it. They start doing their own research, and guess what they find? Wow, there is evidence for this. And so then they get excited. It reignites their passion for medicine because they get to actually see people getting better over time instead of worse. And when you've got a doctor who's passionate about what they do, like me, the sky is the limit. And so then now these doctors are now switching their careers and saying, I want to do lifestyle medicine because this is the kind of medicine that I want to do. I want people to be getting better and not worse over time. So that's 100%. How most lifestyle medicine doctors are born, is through their patients. And so go ahead.
I was just going to say that I actually prepared a fact sheet to give my clients when they go for their checkups, when they have lost weight, and I know that their labs are going to be improved, and I know that there's a possibility for their doctor to say, what are you doing? I give them a fact sheet to take with them, and it has the 5 documentaries and that meta-analysis and the Kaiser Permanente stuff and all of that, so that they can just, on one piece of paper, if they want to take it and run with it, they can.
Yeah, and actually not a bad idea to bring something like that to every doctor visit and just give it to them. And
Yeah.
maybe they'll throw it away. Maybe they won't look at
Or
it.
just leave it.
Just
leave it in the reading room.
There you go. Leave it on the chair. Yep.
Just leave it there.
Yeah, because it's important that, I mean, this is something that needs to get out there, because, you know, you think back at when tobacco smoking was really, I mean, we had the evidence. We knew that it was causing lung cancer. But doctors were still saying, oh, but this one's, you know, they're still advertising it. Like, this one's the one that I would suggest that you use instead of this cigarette.
Yeah.
And it took a while for us to finally come together and say, enough is enough. Smoking is bad. Smoking causes cancer. But we had the evidence well before that finally came out, that the Surgeon General said no more, right? So I feel like this is a similar situation, and that the evidence is there. It's just, we've got to get more people to know it, more people to understand it, to the where it's just out there, and you know, just, yeah.
Well, the evidence is there, and yet the evidence is there, and there are people in Washington, you know, appearing at different hearings to talk about this evidence, but still, the federal government is not choosing that. I saw a thing that said RFK is going to come out and recommend that everybody eat more saturated fat, and the whole beef industry thing, and the beef tallow.
But that's not evidence-based. But that's not evidence-based, right?
Right. But
so
we
are fighting against that.
Yeah, we're fighting against that. That's what I'm saying. The regular person is not sitting there going, wow, is the government telling me to do something that's not evidence-based? Like, they're not thinking that, because who would think that their government is doing something that is against their best health? Who would think that? That's crazy.
I know. Well, so Naomi, why don't we start talking a little bit about kind of what you offer, what kinds of programs you have, and then we can start talking about how we're going to be partnering together and offering some medical care for your programs.
Yes, I'm definitely going to talk about that. Ramona says the advisory council was ignored. It definitely was. I just saw that yesterday. Okay, so this is so exciting, because my clients, so I offer my regular 12-week Plants Over Pills program, where you learn how to eat so that you could drop the pounds, solve the health problems, and so that you could start to come off your medication to the amount that you can, right? So, and I was doing this by myself, but I am just a health coach, right? I am not trained to help people with their medications. And the problem with that is that many of my clients, they have several different doctors. They got a cardiologist, an endocrinologist, a rheumatologist, all of these ologists, and they have different medications. I would say the average amount of medication that my clients is on is 3 or more. 3 or more.
And that's not that many compared to what most people are on, actually.
Yeah, I remember one patient that we worked on of yours, and she came to the meeting and she was like, I went from 5 medications to 1. Like, yeah, I've had clients that have 8 medications. So when the medications are that many, the side effects are very strong in all kinds of different ways, depending on the person. And then not only that, as their bodies heal and regulate, they become over medicated. And then we have a whole host of other problems that happens then. And so what is in the best interest of the clients and the patients would be to have medical supervision from you in their corner to help them come down off the meds. And I know you call that deprescribing, which is my all-time favorite topic. And I love the way you guys talk about that, because you want to do that the right way. You don't want to just stop taking this and stop taking that. You want to do it the right way. Why? Tell us why you need to do that the right way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, part of this is making sure that not only do you have someone who knows how to deprescribe medications, because I will say that is not something that you learn in training, right? We don't learn how to deprescribe. We learn which medication to start, which would be the, you know, like for blood pressure, what's the best one to start with? Okay, and then if you have to add another one, what's the second best one? How do you increase the dose over time? but we don't learn how to deprescribe because typically that's not what we do. Typically people get
Wow.
worse, right? And so we're very lucky in our team of doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine that that's what we do. So we're very
Unicorns you are.
knowledgeable. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I feel sparkly. But you know, we get to do that a lot. So we learn very quickly what makes sense. You know, especially things like diabetes. If you're on insulin, if you're on, you know,
Immediately, you have to
GLP-1s or, you
reduce.
know,
Yeah.
sulfonylureas, how to be safe and which
Yeah.
makes sense to reduce first. Even with blood pressure, how quickly do we need to get you off medications? If you're on multiple medication, which one do we start with? So we know
Yeah.
all of that, and we can very easily help you manage your medications and deprescribe as we can. And then on top of that, you've got a doctor who's supportive of you doing this, who isn't going to laugh at you or think it's ridiculous, right? They're going to be supportive of this because this is the lifestyle we live. This is how we
Yeah.
changed our own lives. This is how we live these amazing lives that we get to live of feeling healthy, and not living with chronic disease. So that's really the power of having that medical care when you're doing any kind of a program where you're transitioning, you know, you're making a significant lifestyle change.
Yeah. So when you came up with that idea, I was like, that is brilliant. That is exactly what we need to do so that I can help them get the result and you can help them come down off the meds and improve their wellness like at the same time. Because I will tell you, the women that are coming to work with me, they need help with their stress, they need help with their sleep issues, they need help with their relationships, they need help with overall wellness. And that's something that you can continue to help them with, right? As they come
Oh
down off
yeah.
these meds. And so this is so powerful for the people who are working with both of us. So that's why I love this partnership, and that's why I think it is even more powerful than what I was doing alone, or more powerful than what you were doing alone. That's
Absolutely. That's the other
partner.
thing, right? Yeah, having someone who can be that coach where, and I think you do this where you have people send in pictures of what they eat, right?
Yeah.
Having that kind of accountability partner. That's it. And
Yeah.
I do have some patients who will do that with me, but of course I don't do that day to day. You know, it is more of the medical management and talking about
Yeah.
the lifestyle stuff and coming up with a plan. So to have you as a partner is just it makes both of our offerings even better. And by the way, we have several doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine. It's not just me. We have several doctors that you can choose from, depending on where you live. You know,
Your
California, we have
state.
several doctors. Yeah, whatever state you're in that you would be seeing your doctor from, you can go online and find the doctor that will work in your state, and then choose from them. So, but we cover all 50 states, DC, and international. So it doesn't matter where you live. You can find a doctor at Lifestyle Telemedicine that can help. So tell us a little bit about how
Yeah.
people would sign up then for your programs.
So you can go straight to my website at goingveganforhealth.com, and you can go to the link that says health success stories, and you can swipe through those. And there's a link to watch a video about how I work, and then to sign up for a call with me, right? A planning session with me so that we could talk face to face and I could learn about what's going on with your health and what your goals are and what it is that you really want to do. And that's how, we can develop a relationship, and then you could see if my style of coaching is going to be what you want, because I'm kind of tough lovish and you might not like that. Most women, they're coming to me because they want that. They're tired of not knowing what it is that they should do and not being encouraged to stand up and take responsibility. And I'm there to shine the light on that. So if they like that and they want somebody who's very down to earth, that's going to be the way. Now, the other ways are, you could follow me on Instagram, and I'm constantly talking about how you can sign up for my program and how you can come in and do different things with me. Like, for example, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, I'm running the Drop It Boot Camp. No exercise required. It's the anti-boot camp because why? Because we're not focusing on exercise, we're focusing on the food. And the reason we're focusing on the food is because the science has shown us that 80% of our health is determined by our nutrition. So why are we going to sit there working out like a fiend, eating all the wrong food, when we could change the food and start to feel better, like you said, like almost immediately? So it's a 3-day boot camp where you're going to drop that confusion that you feel. You're going to get really more clear on what you're doing. You're going to drop the whole identity of somebody who is a sick person and like pick up an identity of the healthy woman that you want to be. And then you're going to drop your confusion about what to eat tomorrow, because I'm going to show you how to focus on the foods that you love and how I teach my clients to make a magic menu. You're going to walk away with that. That's one way that you could try me on. You could come in and like see if you jive with what I'm saying, if you feel that intuitive hit that this makes sense. It's just $37 for a 3-day live workshop with me. That's like almost a no-brainer. If you're somebody who is, wanting to see like if this makes sense for you. So that's on Instagram, in my Facebook group. I'm just constantly talking about, like, you will be sick of me if you start following me. If you're somebody who wants this lifestyle and you don't do something about it, you will be sick of me. You will want to do something about it. So those are all the ways that you could find out about working with me. And so I have a special package that goes with my program when you choose the medical supervision as well. Like I was saying, I would say 60% of my clients have all of those medications. And the other 40% of my clients, they just need to lose 10 or 20 pounds, and they have one health issue like high blood pressure or high cholesterol or high prediabetes. And they don't really need that. They might not even be on meds yet. And so they don't feel that they need that. But for the woman who wants help and wants that support in your corner, so powerful. And so we have a special package working together, which Susan facilitates. So that is awesome. Right.
Yes. Yeah. So they can go to your website to package that includes the medical care. They feel like they need that medication adjustments. And then very soon we will also have a link to that on our website as well. So people can go to our website, look at our programs where we are partnering with, and you'll be one of those, so they can learn more there too.
Yeah. So I do a call with each woman so that I find out if she needs that medical supervision. And I'll either tell her, oh, this would be great if you had this kind of supervision, or you really don't need that, or if she's, has all of these other problems with sleep and stress, then I will suggest. So I like to talk to the women to see what it is they really need without just throwing out this and that when I don't really know them. I want to know them. It's personal. Right. We work personally. Yeah. You do too. Like, it's very personal. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's look at all this
Susan
comments
too.
For
and
a
Susan's
minute.
Watching, and we've got Susan who's watching, and let's see, let's put up your website so people can see what that is. So goingveganforhealth.com. And by the way, Naomi has amazing whole food, plant-based, no oil recipes on her website. My favorite is the chickpea smash.
Still?
So you can just go on there, and I mean, yes. I love it.
Here's what I want to say about the recipes. Here's what I want to say about these recipes. Not only are they delicious and retreat tested at all the retreats, and also I ran a cooking club for 5 years. I just discontinued it in January of this year. Since the pandemic, they're tested in the cooking club. They are tested to be delicious, right? And simpler than, say, recipes from Forks Over Knives or anywhere else. But here's the real thing. I designed each recipe to be a meal so that it includes the starches that you want in the meal, so that it includes the vitamin C along with the greens, so that it boosts the absorption of the iron. These are scientifically developed to really further your whole your whole journey, your whole health journey. And this actually came to a head because usually the women in my groups and programs, when they are making their magic menu, they usually choose from my recipes, but they don't have to. They can like look at the other ones as long as they're whole food, plant-based, no oil. But in the beginning, we say, stop the shiny object syndrome, stop squirreling all over the internet, stick with one source of recipes. But so she went and she got this recipe of a broccoli salad, and she put it on there. And I look at everybody's menus every single week because I'm looking at, are they putting things on their menu that are going to get them to their goals, or are they going off on tangents, right? Because it's easy to go off on tangents. It's easy to make something that's too overwhelming. It's easy to make a menu that doesn't have enough variety. I mean, it's easy to go off on a number of tangents, and we're very focused for those 12 weeks. So I'm looking at her menu, and I say, well, what else? She had it for lunch, and I was like, well, what else did you have with this broccoli salad? What else was in it? Because she wrote what was in it, and she was like, that's all that was in it. And I was like, well, what starchy carbs were in it? And she was like, none. And I was like, okay, so next time, choose one with starchy carbs in it, like quinoa or something else, right? Rice, pasta even, or next time, make my broccoli pasta salad. It's amazing. And she gained weight that week. And so then the next week, she chose all my recipes, and she came into the group special and she wrote, my win of the week is I realized that I want to stick to Naomi's recipes because then I know I'm getting everything I need the right way and that it's going to be delicious and I don't have to worry about it. I don't need to go off on tangents. And I lost 1.7 pounds this week. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people worry about carbs, right? Because now they've got a bad rap. So, but you and I can attest that starchy, whole plant foods, carbohydrates are so important for not only overall health. Your body feeds off of glucose. You need glucose to make energy, but also to be satiated, to make sure that you're eating enough calories, that
to
you're
love
getting
it,
that energy. Yes, to love it. It tastes good.
So you
it's
feel
so
like you're
important to
not
make
dieting.
sure that your meals have starch. Yep.
Yeah. And so I designed my recipes to cover all of that. That's the whole purpose of those recipes. I thought about it like, what would make this more complete? And so this way, also, when you're using my recipes that you're eating the starches and the fats the right way. You're doing it the right way. You're not getting more than what you need of any one thing. So, so it just makes it easy to choose. All you have to focus on is, does this look delicious to me? That's it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yep.
That's the whole thing.
Yep, exactly. And by the way, Naomi, I run my own retreats as well, and I use several of your recipes. So
you did? What'd you make?
Yes.
You made chickpea smash.
So we do the bolognese.
Yum.
So good. And I'm not even a fan of tomato sauce. And it's so good because with adding the lentils and the quinoa to make it just a little bit like almost, I don't want to say meatier because I don't like meat anyway, but it just makes it more filling. It makes it more starchy, right?
But
again,
to my point that I was just making, I added starch and I added protein so that this sauce, it's not just tomato sauce, it's a meal.
Yeah.
That's my point. And people are eating my recipes, they don't realize the science behind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that you were able to use. Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, of course I do. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having those available free on your website.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to pop up one of the questions here. I would be curious, Naomi, I'm sure that you've had this in some of your clients where they talk about high cholesterol, even though they're on a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. And if there's anything that you suggest to those clients, we can't give specific medical advice, but just overall, we can give some ideas. And then if anybody has any other questions, feel free to post those.
So I heard you talking with Dr. Pierce about other things you could do for high cholesterol. You should list those off. But I'm going to tell people what I do, which is probably the same thing. We keep it very low fat, but we still, it still has to be delicious. But we keep it very low fat. Now, the other little cheating thing that I tell people to do is, in the day or two before the cholesterol test, when you know you're going to give the blood, don't eat any fat at all. Like, just don't even do it. Keep your fruit intake low, keep your fat low, just for that day or two before. Because what's the cholesterol test? It's a measure of all the different fats floating around in your blood, right? So let's reduce that. That's my biggest hack.
Yeah,
Honestly.
absolutely. And we know that what really drives cholesterol, added cholesterol, right? Your body makes cholesterol, but
Yeah.
added comes from saturated fat in the diet. So a lot of people say, well, I'm not eating any cholesterol. Why would I have extra cholesterol running around through my body? Well, saturated fat, which you can get on a plant-based diet. So just watching out for those secret sources of saturated fat. I will say any processed vegan foods most likely are going to have saturated fat. Anything that has added oils in it, any of those fake meats or cheeses, absolutely you're getting saturated fat. And then
Coconut
just
milk.
looking at,
Yeah.
yep, anything with coconut. Coconut is over 90% saturated fat out of the fat. And then, I mean, some
Avocados.
nuts. Yeah,
Yeah.
some nuts are going to have more saturated fat than others, so peanuts
But
are going to have
but
more than, say,
even
walnuts.
but even the unsaturated fats, like the olive oils and things like that, where it's mostly not saturated fat, even that, on top of the fat buildup that you already have, will cause cholesterol to rise. Ask me how I
Absolutely.
know. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Well, it happened to me, and I don't tell this story very often, but here's the perfect place to tell it. When I first went vegan, I don't know if you did this, but when I first went vegan, I put oil on everything because I loved coconut oil and I loved olive oil. And I was like, well, it's vegan. Well, it's plants. I put oil on everything. I cooked in it. I glugged it. I put it on my salads. I was making all these beautiful vinaigrettes, these fancy schmancy things. It was so much fun. I was putting it in my smoothies. I was putting in my coffee. Remember that, like, coffee with the butter in
Yes.
it thing? Remember that? And what do you think happened when I went to the doctor 3 months later? My
They
cholesterol
wanted to
was
put you on a statin.
204. And the guy
Yeah.
was like, what happened? You've got a jump in the cholesterol. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know. And so then I started Googling again. And I said to him, let me figure that out and, test me again. It's probably just a mistake. So I went Googling again and I found Dr. Esselstyn's no oil video. You know that one that he does?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, it's the oil. And so I stopped all that, like, immediately. I can make a decision, like, immediately, and you can too. Anybody can. And I made that decision and I stuck with the forks over knives recipes that had no oil at the time, right? They all had no oil. And I did that. And then when I went back in 4 months, my cholesterol was back down to 165.
Yep.
So I learned it firsthand. I know that is, I don't know how it happens. I don't know why, but it's the most concentrated source of fat and no
Yeah.
nutrients. So, and then I was adding probably 800 calories of, maybe more, of pure fat to my diet, just from the cooking, the salads, and putting it on everything. In my hummus, you know how they glug oil on top of hummus? I did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I learned the hard way, and now when I have those, like, go out to dinner and I have something with oil in it, I'm like, it's like too oily. Yeah.
Yep. You can taste it. Absolutely. No, I
Yeah.
definitely, I agree. And I've had plenty of patients who are already eating a plant-based diet, but still including oil. And once they get rid of the oil, not only do they see their cholesterol numbers improve, but blood pressure usually
Fast.
improves. And then they lose
Yeah.
weight, right?
Everything
If they're struggling.
happens. Everything happens fast. So
Yeah.
that's one
And I
of the
would call oil
things.
processed. You know, if you're talking about processed
Highly.
foods, I would call oil a processed food.
It's
So I
definitely
think
not
that
a whole
that's
food.
another reason why it increases cholesterol.
It's
Yeah.
definitely not a whole food. It doesn't
Yeah.
include the fiber and the nutrients that are and the fluids that are in the olive at all. So you're missing out on all of that. You're just like pure fat. So
Yeah.
that happened to me. And so then I can attest to that. And that's one of the things, like if somebody wants to come to work with me, they need to be ready to do that. So I teach about that and I ask about that and I ask if they're ready to do that. And I give my recipes for free so that people can try it and try one and see, like, oh, then they know that it's going to be delicious. You know what I mean? Like, until they
Yep.
try it, they don't know. They're like, how do you cook without oil? Well, all you have to do is go to a recipe that is designed whole food, plant-based, no oil, and you follow the recipe, and then you're automatically cooking without oil. So
Yep. Yeah, it just
definitely
it
that's
just takes practice, right? It just takes practice and then it becomes second nature. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to use oil now that I just don't use it anymore. It's not in my house.
it would be terrible if I tried. I don't even keep it. So now what were some of those extra tips I heard you saying with Dr. Jeff about you could reduce 10 points on your cholesterol with what was
Oh
it?
yeah, like garlic powder. Yeah, so Dr. Greger, oh, this is another thing that I meant to mention earlier when we were talking about how do you find reputable information, how do you find reputable people and find information and get between the weeds and figure out like what really is evidence-based and what is the best thing to do. Nutritionfacts.org
Yes.
uses the literature, right? So they make videos where they distill down from lots of different sources, and they actually tell you, answers to common questions based on what's out there, and it's mostly related to nutrition. So that's a really good source, nutritionfacts.org. And then, sorry, what was your question?
My question was like, what are those other things that you said you could do to reduce your
Oh,
cholesterol
yeah,
10 more points if you're already whole food, plant-based, no oil?
yeah. Yeah, so Dr. Greger is coming out with a new book that's about how to lower LDL. And so he's gone
Oh,
through and found what are some things that do have evidence. And one of the things was, I think it was an eighth of a teaspoon of garlic powder every day that can help
like
improve.
straight?
So there are a few different things like that. Yeah,
Wait,
I mean, or in your food. Yeah, it doesn't need to
well,
be
let's
like that
see.
you just put it on your
Probably,
tongue. Yeah.
probably we all have more than an eighth of a teaspoon of garlic powder in our food every day. Like I know I put a whole teaspoon. I don't know
Well,
about you.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Plus like six garlic cloves. All right, what else? What
Right,
was another
right.
one of what was one of the other things he said or Jeff said?
Um, that was the big one. I'm trying to remember what else. So Jeff watched the webinar. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not super familiar with all of the things that he found in his research.
Okay.
But that's
Okay.
something that will be out soon. And I think his
Okay.
webinar, I think it'll be available for people to watch. I think you had to pay for it the first time, but he'll have that out soon, so we can
Now,
keep
I'm
an
going to
eye.
say
But
something else about about the high cholesterol and the test and the genetic high cholesterol. This also means that you stick to whole food, plant-based, no oil. It means that you don't eat chocolate every night and say to yourself, "Oh, that's fine." And you don't like go out to dinner twice a week and not really know what's in the food, and you read the labels on everything that you have in there, because if you're not asking and you don't read the labels and you're cheating with and you're eating like a spoonful of peanut butter but you forgot and you really don't, think much of, all of those things are going to add on to your cholesterol levels if you have that stubborn high cholesterol, and it's going to keep it there. So you really have to be honest with yourself.
yeah,
That's something else I'll say.
yeah, and also that cholesterol changes pretty quickly. So, like what you mentioned, it doesn't take months for your cholesterol to go high or go low. It
Yeah.
turns over pretty quickly, and so whatever you ate the day before, the week before, is very
Yeah.
likely to affect your numbers when you get tested. So also just being aware of that if you were traveling that week And normally you do really, really well, but during that time, when you come and say, gosh, what is this? Like my cholesterol is actually worse than it was before. Why is it getting worse? Just trying to remember
Think about
that
the week.
it absolutely, think about the week prior. And I know we've just got a few minutes left. Are you okay with another question before we wrap
Of course.
up?
Let's go.
Okay. All right. I like it. Okay. So this question is, there's such a push for mass amounts of protein now. I know, and it just seems like it's just this never ending, right? It's more and more all the time, that it can be confusing. Can you speak to protein requirements for postmenopausal women? So I can talk about that. I mean, if you just look at some of these, major groups that make decisions on how much we need based on the evidence, it's actually a lot lower than what your personal trainer might be recommending. That's where I hear a lot of people when they go to see a personal trainer, they're being told, oh, you got to increase your protein so much more. Where the World Health Organization is saying 0.66 grams per kilogram of ideal body weight. So you can do that measurement yourself and just Google pounds to kilograms, and then you're going to want to know what your ideal body weight is as well. And then the FDA and the CDC are both recommending 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Now, if you are an athlete, there's a chance that you might need a little bit more than that. Especially if you're an endurance athlete.
Like an athlete, not like somebody who does Pilates 3 times a week, like an actual
or pickleball
running,
like me,
or my 3 times a week pickleball and my yoga.
Yep.
No, like an athlete who is running and training, or a bodybuilder. Woo,
yes,
a bodybuilder.
Yep. But what's interesting is your body, for the most part, takes care of that, because as you're exercising more, you're burning more calories, you end up eating more. So you do end up getting more protein just naturally. And I would say that's, your body is really smart that way. And that when you need water, you get thirsty, right? When you need more protein, you tend to crave higher protein sources. So most people are getting plenty of protein. And if you really want to have like a more specific conversation about how much do you need specifically, then book an appointment, talk to one of our doctors. We talk about this stuff all the time, so we can come up with that.
And also, if you have some kind of intuitive feeling that you do want more protein, then eat any of the protein sources, have a little more of it, add a little more tofu, have some edamame, have another meal of lentils. Like, just do it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I will say, instead of adding protein powder to your shake,
food. I said
smoothie
food
in the morning, add beans. Yeah, eat more beans, right? Beans are such a good source of protein.
So we don't have to like worry. That's my point.
No, exactly.
Okay.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Naomi. I am going to put your website back up again so that people can find you. And it was just so wonderful, of course, as always, to hear your story and learn about what you do. I mean, it's just incredible that you have used what you learned in your own health journey to help other people who are on their own health journeys. So I'm really, really happy that you exist on this world and that you are helping other people with what you are doing.
So I have to add one thing. I have
else?
Something very, yes, I have something super, super exciting coming out in the next 2.5 weeks. I don't know the date. And it's going to help, to your point of like taking what I learned and putting it out there. And it's going to help so many women. And I'm so excited to like announce it. But I can't really announce it. So, because I don't know when it's the date. So I want you guys to follow me on Instagram so that you can get your hands on this when it comes out. This is for everybody interested in taking back their health with the whole food plant-based lifestyle. This is for you to give as gifts to women who have been asking you, how did you get your glow back? How did you do it? Because I have hundreds of clients who are all in their size 6 and their size 4, and they lost their weight and they ditched their meds. and their friends and their family are like, how did you do it? And they're like, well, I stopped eating oil. And they're like, what? No, I have a way to spread this just like all over the place. And so I'm so excited to announce it. I'm going to be talking about it on Instagram shortly, like as soon as I'm meeting with the designer of the thing tomorrow. So I'm very excited. And that's the next thing that is coming on the horizon that I'm super, super stoked about, because when I heard them say that in Forks Over Knives, I thought to myself, geez, I got to tell how as many people as possible this thing. We have to like scream it out. And this is one way to do that, aside from the internet, which is where we're doing it every day.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so
So
much,
stay
Naomi.
tuned.
Really appreciate you. I'm excited
Thank
to see what
you.
that is. I'll be following along, definitely. All
Thank
right.
you.
Well,
Thank you
for
so
those of
much for
you,
today.
yeah, thank you, Naomi. And for those of you watching, thank you again for your questions, your comments. If you have not had the pleasure of working with one of our doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine, that's our website, lifestyletelemedicine.com. Maybe you're suffering from a chronic lifestyle related disease that is reversible. We would love to help you. Maybe you just want a doctor who's supportive of you making significant lifestyle changes. We've got you. Please come and visit us. We've got amazing doctors who cover all 50 states, DC, and international. And you can always call Susan. Susan, who was watching today, she's wonderful. She's our patient care coordinator. Call her at 888-420-7284. She would be happy to talk to you and just kind of work through where to get started, which doctor works for you, which one's in your state. All right. So thank you so much again, Naomi, and thank you for everyone who was watching today. Come and visit us. We would love to see you. All right. Until next time, I'm Dr. Nikki
Bye.
Davis. Bye.
Bye.